Before you buy a new EV near retirement, check one number almost nobody checks. Its resale value 5 years from now. Because the risk isn't just the sticker price. It isn't just charging. In my model, 3 things together, depreciation, higher insurance, and lost compounding, can turn one smart-looking purchase into a $64,000 retirement gap. You won't see it in one monthly payment. You'll see it when you sell. Here's the math. So this is for you if you're somewhere in your 40s, 50s, early 60s, and you're either thinking about buying a new electric car or you just did. Not because EVs are evil. They're not. This isn't a political video, and I don't care what's in your driveway. It's about something colder than that. At our age, a 5-figure mistake doesn't come back. When you're 25, you've got 40 years to recover. When you're 55, you don't. That money doesn't get a second life. The first thing nobody puts on the window sticker is this. According to iSeeCars' latest 5-year depreciation study, the average electric car loses about 57% of its value in 5 years. The average car overall, about 42. An EV bleeds value faster than a normal car, and it does it in the exact window most of us actually keep a car. That's the number nobody checks, resale value. Hold on to it, because it's the thread that pulls the whole thing apart. And it's not the only cost hiding here. There's the insurance. There's a safety net that quietly disappeared last year. And there's the part almost nobody's connected yet. Even Toyota, the name most people tie to hybrids, isn't betting everything on today's EV. We'll get to all 3. If this kind of straight math helps, subscribe. Small channel, big help. Now let's make it real. Let me put real faces on this. Brian buys the new Tesla Model Y, and he feels great about it. Modern, quiet, finally doing the right thing. David buys a Toyota RAV4 Hybrid instead. 5 years later, they both go to sell. Brian's Model Y has shed $26,000 in value. David's RAV4 Hybrid, $8,000. That's a $17,000 gap before Brian has paid for a single thing that actually breaks. And why does the EV fall so hard? Because many used buyers won't pay the same premium. They're worried about the battery. They're worried the tech is already aging. So the price collapses to move it. Brian didn't buy a car. He financed somebody else's discount. Now the part you find out after you've signed, insurance. On average, EV insurance runs about $1,300 a year higher than gas-powered cars, according to Insurify. That's $110 a month. That's not a perfect Model Y to RAV4 quote. Your insurance depends on your state, your age, your record. But it's a fair national penalty to put in the model. Why so high? Expensive parts, specialized labor, a big battery insurers are terrified of writing off. Let me be fair, though, because I don't want you taking my word blind. Jake, the EV is cheaper to fuel. True, charging a Model Y does beat buying gas by around $440 a year. So I'm going to subtract that from the EV's column. I'm not stacking the deck. I want the number to survive you checking it. One more, if you live where it gets cold. AA found an EV's range drops 39% at 20 degrees. That doesn't mean every EV gets expensive to run. If you charge at home, you may still come out ahead. But if you lean on public charging, or you live where winter is brutal, those savings can shrink fast. So stack it up. The extra depreciation, the extra insurance, minus the fuel Brian saves. Over 5 years, that's roughly $22,000 the EV pulls out of his pocket that David keeps. Hold that number. 22 grand sitting still is one thing. 22 grand doing nothing when it could be doing something is a different story. We'll get there. And I'll say it plainly so you know where I stand. Personally, I would not buy a new EV this close to retirement. You might land somewhere else, that's allowed. But that's my honest read. This is the piece that changed everything, and it happened while most people weren't looking. For years, a $7,500 federal tax credit made the upfront math easier. It gave buyers a cushion. On September 30th, 2025, that cushion ended. No phase-out. Gone. The $4,000 used EV credit? Gone too. So think about what that does. The average new EV is still a mid-$50,000 purchase. Kelley Blue Book had it around $54,500 in May 2026. That's a serious check to write this close to retirement. And now, if that car drops hard on resale, there's no federal credit sitting there to soften the hit. The safety net didn't get smaller. It disappeared from the math. And there's still one more reason 2026 might be the worst possible year to buy one new. Step back from Brian and David and look at the people who actually build these cars. Even Toyota, the company most associated with hybrids, isn't treating today's battery tech as the final answer. Toyota calls the battery EV just one option in a multi-pathway strategy: hybrids, plug-ins, hydrogen, and EVs. And it's targeting a solid-state battery around 2027 to 2028 with longer range and charging from 10 to 80% in about 10 minutes. So I'm not telling you a magic battery is about to end the EV overnight. And I'm not telling you to wait forever either. The honest version is simpler. Even the giant that builds these cars is hedging its bets. And if something meaningfully better lands in 2 or 3 years, a brand new 2026 EV carries technology risk on resale, not just normal depreciation. That's not a prophecy. It's the same thread from the start. Resale risk, pulled tighter. Let me tell you why this one's personal. My brother-in-law learned this the hard way. Brand new EV, top of the line. I told him, before you sign, check what these things resell for. He waved me off. 3 years later, he wanted something bigger. The dealer gave him the number, and it stopped him cold. He just said, "You tried to tell me." I'm sharing this so it stays his lesson, not yours. So let's finish the math I promised you. The extra depreciation, the extra insurance, minus the fuel. Brian is out about $22,000 over 5 years, compared to David, for the same job, getting from A to B. But the part that actually matters for your retirement isn't the $22,000 itself. It's that the $22,000 isn't just gone. It's money that could have been working. Take that gap and put it where David put it. Invested, earning a 7.4% real return, and in about 15 years it becomes roughly $64,000. That's the $64,000 from the start. Not a fee, not a scam. Just the quiet difference between the car that bleeds value and the car that doesn't, compounded into the years you'll actually need it. And if you saw my video on the wealth killer in your driveway, this is the same lesson, sharper. It was never electric versus gas. It's the car you choose. And to be clear, the answer isn't automatically go buy a hybrid. That exact $64,000 number comes from this Model Y versus RAV4 Hybrid comparison. But the principle is bigger. Any reliable car that holds its value can beat a new EV that falls too fast on the used market. The point isn't the badge. It's not handing your retirement to a depreciation curve. Now let me argue against myself, because you should hear it. Now you could tell me, EVs are cheaper to maintain, no oil changes. That's real, you're right. It just doesn't close a $22,000 gap. And the battery horror stories? Mostly overblown. An out-of-warranty replacement can still be expensive. Recurrent puts typical costs around $5,000 to $16,000. But in Recurrent's data, only about 2.5% of EV batteries have ever been replaced, and new packs are generally covered for at least 8 years or 100,000 miles. I'm not going to scare you with a number that probably won't happen to you. So hear what I'm actually saying. This isn't anti-EV. If you buy a used EV after someone else ate that depreciation, that can be a smart move. The trap is the new one, full price, at the worst moment. Paid for with the years you can't earn back. So before you sign anything, check one number. What will this be worth when I sell it? And separate two things that feel identical and aren't. A purchase that feels good and one that is good for you. If this saved you even one bad decision, do me the favor. Like it, subscribe, ring the bell. It genuinely keeps this channel alive. So, the natural next step. You just saw how not to lose the money on the car. The real question is where it should actually go. My video on how to invest in your 40s and 50s picks up exactly there. You save it on the car, and I'll show you where to put it. I'll see you in that one.